Is Matthew Stafford a top 5, top 7 quarterback? No, because he doesn't win enough to do so. Does he put up good numbers? Yes, he absolutely does. Look, let's face it, there's an element of Drew Brees in Matthew Stafford, and Drew Brees is going to go to the Hall of Fame. Now, Drew Brees has one big thing on his resume. He has a Super Bowl championship, and Matthew Stafford hasn't won a playoff game. But Drew Brees has been everybody's favorite fantasy football quarterback that you know you could win fantasy football games with, but can't really quite equate that on the field. And that's the same thing with Matthew Stafford, at least for Drew Brees since 2009 when they won the Super Bowl. So I think that Matthew Stafford is just the next in line that's supposed to get major money. Could the Lions have waited until after the season to franchise tag him? Yeah, they could have. But we also know in football that oftentimes guys that get these huge deals don't even make all of the money in the deal. It's just part of the press release. You say 5 years, $135 million, then the guy gets 3 years for $78 million or something like that. So I'm not also freaked out about the total dollar amount. It'll be surpassed soon enough. Also, if you're just looking at sheer dollars and cents, because it doesn't make any sense to give a non-elite quarterback $135 million.
It's about the money. M-O-N-E-Y, D-A.
I would merely direct you over to Saturday night and the sham that we all paid $100 for, and note that Floyd Mayweather made $135 million in about 4 rounds of that fight. The first 4 rounds that he would arguably have lost. The first 4 rounds where he was outboxed, he made $135 million. So I'm supposed to get all crazy and all bent out of shape and melt down because a guy that actually has to put his body on the line every single week, 16 weeks a season, with 350-pound defensive linemen landing on top of him, or linebackers trying to come and spear him from behind. I'm supposed to say that's too much money when Floyd Mayweather just made that for 4 rounds of bad boxing? Like, why don't we freak out about that instead? How overpriced and outrageous that is. And the most important piece of this puzzle. The Lions have had bad quarterbacking or mediocre quarterbacking for years. I mean, you could arguably go back to Bobby Lane. That was the last quarterback in the Lions franchise better than Matthew Stafford. If we're going back to the 1950s, do the Lions really want to spin the wheel again? Because when you are spinning the wheel of not having a quarterback, you are in no man's land. It's the worst place to be in professional sports. An NFL team without a quarterback. So go ask the Jets how life is. Ask the Niners how life is. Ask the Rams about the price they paid to try to solve their mistakes. Ask the Bears about how many resources they've had to allocate to fix their mistakes. Ask the Dolphins how they felt when Ryan Tannehill went down. You know, it's the cost of doing business in the NFL these days, and having Matthew Stafford is better than not having Matthew Stafford. I'm sorry. Is he a great quarterback? No. Does he win playoff games? Absolutely not. Is he a great fantasy player and maybe not a great real player? Sure. But having Matthew Stafford's better than not having Matthew Stafford. So do the Lions have to do this? Yeah, the Lions kind of have to do this, which is why I'm not going to melt down over it, which is so funny when everybody else does.